Hi everyone, I'm Jamie Kubota from the Nutrition, Food Science and Packaging Department at San Jose State. Today we're going to be making guacamole. So guacamole, most of you probably know this, starts with avocados. And we've got some nice fresh avocados here. All we need for this is really avocados, lime, a little bit of salt. But you can dress it up. And so today we're also going to be adding in a little bit of tomato. So I have a Roma tomato, a little bit of onion. So I have a red onion and some cilantro. Okay, so we're going to start though with the avocados. And I've got one that's already been opened up. The way that you open up the avocado is we actually take a chef's knife and we're going to cut into the avocado all the way down to the seed and then run it around the avocado, pressing against that seed until we've gone all the way around. And then what we can do is we can twist it and open it up, okay? And so one half comes out clean, and that's easy to deal with. And then this half has the seed in it, so we need to remove that pit. And the way that we can do this safely is using our knife. We're going to actually use the butt end of the knife to press into the seed, and then we can twist it out. So let me show you that. So now I've got my knife stuck in there pretty well. And if I just twist, I can pull that out. And then to get it off of the knife, I'm just going to use my thumb and my first finger to very carefully press, and it'll slide right off. Okay? So now I've removed the pit from my avocado. I'll get rid of my pit. And I've got avocado here. The way I like to work with my avocado, I find this the easiest way, is to just score it in this in the skin, and then to take a spoon and to pull it out. And then I've got little cubes of avocado that are easy to deal with. So I'm going to take my knife and very carefully, I'm just going to score it all the way through going one direction, and then I'll go the other direction as well. Voila. And then my other half of my avocado. And then I'm going to take a spoon. And what I'll do is, I'm going to turn this out into a bowl. So use a spoon, a scraper, whatever. And I'm just going to scrape along the, oops, look at that. They're slippery, the skin. And I'm going to pull out all of that avocado. Okay? And I'll do the same thing with the other. Okay? And I'm doing this directly into my mixing bowl. You can do this onto a plate. You can do this onto your cutting board, whatever works for you. And then I'm going to take a fork and I'm going to just mash it. So depending on how you like your guacamole, you can mash it up a little bit more and you get less pieces of avocado, or you can leave it chunky, whatever you like. So there, got my avocado prepped, and now I'm going to add in the other things. So what I wanted to do was add in my lime. So the lime is going to help to brighten up the flavor. It really adds a lot of flavor, brightens up the flavor, and it helps to preserve the color. So avocados are one of those fruits and vegetables that will brown when they're exposed to air. And one way to reduce that is by adding in some acid. So this lime juice is going to add in acid and also some of that flavor. So an easy way to do this, you can just squeeze it, but if you put your fork in there and then turn, you get a little bit more of the lime juice out. So I'm going to add in my lime and add it in about half of a lime, okay? And then can mix that around. I want to add in a little bit of onion and a little bit of tomato. So I'm going to work with my red onion first. I'm going to take off both the top and then just a little bit of the root end. And I'm going to cut off a small piece I can work with because I don't need much. I just want a little tiny bit of red onion. So I'm going to peel this so that then I can mince it finely. So I get little pieces of onion in there. Okay. So now I've got a little bit of red onion that I can work with. I'm actually even going to cut this in a quarter because I really don't need much for this little bit of guacamole that we're making. So in order to get some minced red onion, I'm going to make fine cuts down this side. And then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to go in the opposite direction with my knife. And now I'm getting some fine little pieces of red onion. I'm probably getting more than I need. I can save that for another dish that I'm going to make, maybe salsa or whatever else I'm meal prepping. Okay, my little top to my red onion. But here I have some finely chopped red onion. I'm going to put a little bit of that in with my guacamole, and I'll set the rest of this aside for now. And I'm going to do just a little bit of tomato as well. So I'm going to cut off a little bit of my tomato, and just like my red onion, I'm going to dice this finely. And I'll just go this way. And it's probably plenty, so I'll set this aside. Got some tomato. I'm going to wipe my cutting board with a paper towel, and then I'll do my cilantro. Add a little salt and pepper, and we're done. So for the cilantro, I'm going to take cilantro. Some people don't like cilantro. You could leave it out. I love cilantro, so I don't usually leave it out unless somebody really doesn't want cilantro. And with cilantro, I just broke off a little handful of this. Cilantro has these little leaves at the end, and then they come on stems. And it depends on the cuisine and the culture. Some cultures will chop everything. So they'll take that whole leaf, all the stems, chop them up, and add them in. If you work in fine dining, they're going to tell you to remove those stems, right? So there's somebody whose job it is to actually pick the herbs, and they'll take just the leaves off and chop it up and add it in. So I do a little of both. I tend to not like those big woody stems. So this piece here has pretty big woody stems. So I'm going to pull that off. But I don't mind if I get some of those littler stems in. So I'm just going to pull off some of my bigger woody stems, but I'm going to leave the rest of my my stems in there. I'm not going to worry too much about it. And then I'm going to do some chopping. So I'll get rid of some of those bigger woody stems, and the rest of this, I don't mind if I have a few little stems in there. So I'm going to gather them up, kind of ball them up like that, and then they're easier to hold on to as I run my knife through to chop them up. Okay, so I'm chopping them up, and then I can go through the other direction. Normally, when we're not on camera, I would have my bowl somewhere else, but just so this is easier for you to watch. I've got a little bit of cilantro and salt and pepper. So I'm going to add in just a little bit of salt. Oops. And a tiny touch of pepper. If you wanted to make this spicy, you could also add in jalapeno, and you could get some spice to it. Another thing that is delicious in guacamole is the brine or the pickling juice from pickled jalapenos. So if you wanted to get a little spice, that's another way that you can add in spice, is by adding in a little bit of that brine or pickling juice from your pickled jalapenos, and that's delicious as well. So we are just about done. And that is guacamole. What I'm going to do, I'm going to transfer this into my serving dish, and it would be ready for serving. Now, we can make this pretty, add a little bit more cilantro on the top, maybe a couple of onions. If I had a little piece of tomato, I think that's good. So, guacamole.